this trial. Welcome back. We are still feeling kind of under the weather, but I think now it's a little more her than me. I'm sorry. I just got the break. Okay, so we were talking about how something may have been tampered with, and I think we were even talking just during a meal in between recordings, thinking it was possible. So let's say it could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can, but still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There's no evidence to suggest the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. Ooh, we're calling him the learned friend. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh? Good gracious. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. I do remember that. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten, feckless gouger? Feckless? Gouger? Bless you. You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is. Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Oh! I want to see if it still says the Phoenix Strike Bus. Okay, it does. Bless you. You know, I should look at an old video to see if it was a 418 or if it was just tampered with, because maybe that's as simple as that. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Unfortunately, Laura von Zieks, no one was able to corroborate your claims. That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. Accordingly, I'm afraid to say, we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord, no doubt there is not a single person who saw fit to verify such a thing. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? Well, is there? Are you starting to get congested or stuffy? I'm sorry. Well, the blood on the floor we don't remember seeing.
Stop. You too. Oh. What are you doing?
Kitty's being a weirdo. Kitty, just get down. Like, where are you trying to go from there?
I don't know, but she's being crazy. What are you doing? Don't. Okay.
Okay. My lord. Yes, counsel. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely cannot have been present at the start of the trial. What? What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare betray me, you little maggot. Silence, Begilda. You better start watching your back. God, is he threatening us? The court awaits the defense's clarification.
Kitty!
This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark that you claim appeared at some point during the trial? And we think it's this. Let's press X on it first. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, okay. Is this the same? And yet Von Zieks made no mention of it. That's it.
Got it!
If we consider the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. Arrgh. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded, I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now. But you're the defendant. 'Tis over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all a nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there now. Ah, well. And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that Good for Nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Von Zieks. Well, my lord, I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence. In the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Von Zieks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am, of course, obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now with all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. Defense believes. Oh, boy. I mean, I think he's innocent. I just don't know what to make of all this stuff.
I don't know whether to put could be guilty.
I mean,
you don't think he could have done it, right?
Like, we don't think he did it, so couldn't we technically say we believe he's innocent? It's just the trial should continue.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know. It might just be one of those things where if I press that he's innocent, she'll say, "Are you sure?" Because, and then I have to say he could be guilty.
Okay.
Let's just go with innocent. As Mr. McGill, its legal representative. I can't breathe. The air in here is stifling. When I'm this man's defense lawyer, there's only one thing I can say in this situation. I believe the defendant, Magnus McGilded, to be innocent of the allegations brought against him. Thank you, counsel. Now Kitty is right in the way of the words.
Kitty! Kitty.
Here's to you, my Nipponese friend, and the most abject closing I have yet to hear in a court of law. Order, order. Wah-ha-ha-ha-ha. Oh, 'twas a great decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was a grand decision. You've saved one of London's most influential gentlemen, fella. You should be proud of yourself. Here, have this for your troubles. Ah. Your job here's done, fella, and some fine work you've done, so ye have. What do you mean? 'Tis just as the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it before. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it? None more than a formality? Why is he laughing like Gant? I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You, mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us a lovely park, even though it was black behind you because you said guilty. Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I take it kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
Objection!
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Von Zieks, my lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented this evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. My sincerest apologies, my lord. But wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Von Zieks ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid that the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment, or proffer. What? Well, Lord Von Zieks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. As for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. You mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you could always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus begilded. Good grief! You've more to say to me, have ye? Just one thing, a warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to, then. Wahahaha. I hereby pronounce the defendant Mr. Magnus begilded.
So he's a bad man.
That's the thing, he started laughing maniacally, holy smokes. I can't believe it, this is an outrage, I should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared, he's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. My first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. That certainly was a long trial. Ah, yes it was. Your first ever trial in foreign soil and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mr. Satsu, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we were still completely in the dark as to what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGill did. And that girl is with him, too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And like you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Wahahaha. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Wahahaha. Hottest water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing is resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and obstinate deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. Wahahaha. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ara be whist? You're a humble people, are ye? You from the east? Well, if you insist... What's with the cats just being weird? Jumping on everything. Well, if you insist... But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilden. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom... To the courtroom? What's this, officer? Too soon than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule.
What the hell was that?
Katie, we're gonna bring in the spray.
Your cat has no grace.
I know. Oh boy. If only you guys could see just the cats just being completely weird. I'll get the spray that way. They don't stay up there like that.
What are you doing?
He's doing it again. Okay, he's coming down. Alright, Kitty, get down. There we go. God, what a weirdo. Yeah. Ugh. Well, it seems that he implied that he's in cahoots with the girl because of the planning thing. But, well, I must be making tracks now. It's just time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting you. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I forgot she was here too. Don't move. Whereas I want to say get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry? And I ate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are.
Huh.
Oh! Naughty, naughty running off like that. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ha! Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor? Well, normal smoke grenades are still dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. What's it what? I have no idea what this girl's talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician. Bless you. What? You mean say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? Huh. I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Fine, have it your way. Oh good, you see I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right, but where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we might be out of luck. Don't worry, though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of the year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead, just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned. The case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What? How did this happen? I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed. No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. This can't be.
This isn't good.
There's something bad going on.
I blew my nose. Come back.
Okay. Boy, what a crazy case.
Are you waiting on a PCR?
Yeah. So now we're at the Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
What does that mean?
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to the story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time in the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't keep my tears when we were presented with the bill. Ugh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Oh, London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Oh yes, we're, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh, no longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country's delight to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense satisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Satisfy this court. I can't help wondering if Mr. McGilden really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilden passed away immediately following the trial. What?
He's the one in the bus.
Yeah. What? Mr. McGilden is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Wow. That's... You know, in my head I'm like, what if that was McGilden? But then I'm like, why would he be trapped in there?
Somebody was pissed. Remember the bailiff came?
Yeah.
And said, hey, you ready to inspect it? So he's probably the killer. He put him inside and set it on fire.
Oh dear. I don't understand what happened. How can he be dead? After trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime, which Mr. McGilden had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilden. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside while the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilden didn't mention going back to the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, must be making tracks. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilden talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilden. Well... So in the first case, she didn't really get punished, and we know we're going to see her again. This case, whatever the bailiff was saying, that was bogus, and Mr. McGilden's dead. Somehow, they're going to wrap this all up in a very strange, yet probably thoroughly satisfying way. Just like they did with Hawthorne.
No twins.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow. This Narahona means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Aww. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Long Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Hehehe. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. That can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died as yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Ha! So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright? Oh yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilden's trial. Ah yes, I nearly forgot there was one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I would like to work towards that myself, and there's another thing. Oh? Another thing? Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important, and what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we better have a talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Oh, I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Can we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything?
Sorry.
Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some purpurry about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know.
Is he eating fish and chips? That's racist.
But what?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Doesn't make any sense. But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Have you seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bum kid who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue. Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did you pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson, Inspector Gregson. What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, and that publication, what's it called again? Rance Magazine? That's right, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his words. Well, that sounds like a backhanded compliment. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not, and thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that, to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. What's wrong, hon? You gonna go to bed? Okay. Well, we will with Gregson next time we're with him. But yeah, she's feeling like I was just like the past few days. So, okay. All right, hun. And until next time, we'll see what this case is about, and we got a lot of mysteries to solve in this game, because there are a lot of plot threads that I need an answer to.